I'm in Shenandoah National Park, and this is US Route 211. I'm just about a mile over the top coming down the west side. Down that ways towards Luray, Virginia. Here's my little red car. And I'm gonna close up my car and hike down about another quarter of a mile to a jumping off point. I'm gonna turn right into the woods and look for an old abandoned road that goes down into Shenk's Hollow. The point where I'm gonna jump off and go into the woods is where the Kleiser family used to live. The elevation here is 1,950 feet. Two-tenths of a mile into my hike, down to 1,870 feet. And that's where I came from. My car's up that way, about a quarter of a mile. And right about here is where I'm supposed to be jumping off. Now this is full of nastiness right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and go wide a little bit and then go back behind all this and see if I can pick up the road. Four-tenths of a mile into my hike, I finally pushed my way back through the nastiness. I'm up here on a little bit of a rise. The elevation here is 1,890, and I'm not down to the road yet, but I found some old pipes. So I'll mark this location. This one looks like a galvanized steel pipe. This one down here might be one of those old lead pipes. It's got a rubber covering on it though. So anyway, and it looks like somebody dug a hole here to uncover this stuff. Or maybe it was uncovered and they just expanded it some. But anyway, this is right here in the vicinity of where the Kleiser homestead used to be. So it's probably part of that. Okay, well I came down the hill towards the road, and here it is right here. That's looking up towards up the road towards 211. And then we're going to head this way, which is pretty blocked right now, but head this way down into Shenk's Hollow. .5 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,780 feet. I'm almost to my waypoint number 7, and Shenk's Hollow waypoint number 7. And right here's where the road starts to, looks like it starts taking a bend to the left. Right down there is the headwaters of some creek. I'll have to look it up. I'm on the north side of 211. On this pass run, I know, is on the south side. On this side, though, the north side, I'm not sure what this is. I'll look it up when I get home. But yeah, the road, it's been fairly easy to follow it. It's pretty blocked off and gnarly in certain places, though, with thorny plants and things like that. So every once in a while, I have to swing wide just to avoid some of that. So we'll just keep on descending into Shenk's Hollow. Continuing to descend, I'm in between waypoints 7 and 6. I'm heading towards 6. And just found this old pipe sticking out of the ground. It's still got water coming out of it. See that? And then up here, here's another one that appears to be dry right now. So anyway, that's a galvanized pipe there, and then this one looks like just an old iron pipe. Still dripping water. Okay, well this wellhead is just a short distance uphill from those pipes. It's got a pretty old cap on it, and the lock says USNPS, United States National Park Service. And right down there's the pipes. .2 miles into my hike. I'm down to 1,560 feet. And I'm at my waypoint Shenk's Hollow 5. That's where I came from. And this is the way I'm headed now. From here, let's see, it's about 2/10 of a mile from here, from waypoint 5 over to waypoint 4, which is down that way. And according to the topo map, between here and there, I'm going to have to cross over the creek. So we'll see what... I don't hear a whole lot of water, so shouldn't be too hard to cross unless it's a big swamp. .2 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 1,530 feet. I'm between waypoints 5 and 4, heading down towards 4. And here's another well. These square ones, the Park Service a lot of times calls these collection boxes. I can hear water running in that one. And then right there, looks like a wellhead. And it's got a metal plate welded on top of it. And then down there, maybe you can see, is a galvanized metal pipe where water, I assume, runs out of it, except there's no water running out of it right now. So maybe it dried up or got plugged up or something. But there's plenty of water in here because I can hear it. .5 miles into my hike. I'm down to, hold on, let me look. I'm down to 1,430 feet. And that's where I came from. I'm between waypoint, this waypoint is waypoint 4, and over there is waypoint 5 where I came from. And this whole area here, about 1/10 of a mile or so, is where the creek comes down through here, and it's one big giant swamp zone. You can get across if it hadn't been raining, though. I mean, there's water over there, but there's a lot of rocks. You can tiptoe across on the rocks. That's what I did. But from here on, I don't see I don't see the road, so I think here's where it made a turn and went across the creek right here. And it looks like on this side, continuing on to waypoint 3, it looks like this way. Okay, now I'm starting to see a stone wall here. Starts right there. I'll mark this spot, and then I'm going to continue on down this way, so we'll just see how far down this wall goes. The creek is over here. These days it's more like a swamp zone instead of a well-defined, you know, bed where the water goes. But let's follow this on down. I'm heading down towards my waypoint 3. Getting down close to my waypoint 3. Let's see, I'm about 150 feet away, and there's a pretty steady line of rocks piled up here. I'm assuming this was part of the road, but it's really overgrown, really bad in through here. See that? Well, the sun's in the way. This whole area is real flat and it's real overgrown. Now right here on these rocks is some wire fencing. Right there, see that stuff? Not barbed wire fencing, but just wire fencing. .7 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,380 feet. I'm wandering around down here in a swampy zone at Shenk's Hollow. I lost the road for a while, but it looks like this is it again. See the rocks left and right? It's kind of turned itself into a creek though, and then it heads up that way. That's the way I came, except I didn't try to follow that. I came from over in this direction, so because it's a little bit higher ground. But anyway, I'm gonna push on now. Incidentally, there's a big pile of rocks right over there, so who knows what that was, but that's a pretty good sized pile of rocks. When I get down here a little bit further, I'm heading down to waypoint 2. Waypoint 2 should be down where one of the homesteads used to be, so I'm going to see if I can get down that far. .8 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,350 feet. I'm within about 170 feet of my Shenk's Hollow waypoint 2, which is supposed to be where one of the homesteads is, so this is probably it right here. I think the corner of the wall is over there. It's super overgrown, and I'm kind of standing in a swamp. This whole area, the wall just goes on down that way a ways. This whole area is completely clogged up with grass and whatnot. And over the last 100 years, the creek has overflown its banks and created its own way of getting to the bottom of the mountain. But anyway, I'll mark this location. This is probably the actual location for waypoint 2 where the homestead was. Found some old jars, glass jars, and a lid off of a pot with the handle rusted out. Now I'm inside the fenced area, and there's one of the corners. It's about 4, maybe 5 feet high. Dry stack stone. I'm going to wander around inside here a little bit, and then I'm probably going to have to start heading back. Here's about a 180-degree sweep of this area. I'm standing inside this walled off area. Maybe you can see the wall over there. And then it's partially knocked down over through there. And then the corner, there's a corner over there. And then it's fairly intact down through here. And there's another corner. And then it continues on this way for a short distance, and then it just sort of fizzles out. So, and this area right here where it drops down is where people have been climbing through it. That's where I came from. That's where I'm going back to. I think I'm going to go ahead and start heading back, because it's going to take me a while to get back to my car. And it's probably noon already. Let me take a look here. Yeah, it's about noon. So I spent about 3 hours getting down here. Pretty slow hiking. And then this whole area inside here is just totally, see that? And it's pretty nasty. Lots of thorny bushes. And then back to my starting point over there. So that was actually a 360. So the walled off area is over there. And then I wandered over here. Over here is where the creek actually is when it's not meandering around all over the place in the swamp. This is where the creek actually is, and that looks like a piece of a road kind of heading back the way I want to go. I might follow that for a ways back. And then right here is this has looks like it had a stone foundation dug into the ground, stone foundation, and probably had a roof on it. And then it looks like once upon a time it might have been open right here. Let me back up a little bit. So right there it looks like it might have been open. So I don't know, maybe it was a root cellar or something like that, or a spring house. And then right here is some more rocks piled up, and that looks like the corner of a building right there. See that? That looks like the corner of something that was there. And then right over here is the actual creek. Rusted out barrel down there. And then see that? That's a road heading up that way. I might follow that a ways and see where it takes me. I mean, it's going back in the right direction. So some kind of an old stone structure here. Another stone structure there, and then the homestead was up there, and then back here's the creek. But unfortunately, most of the area from here over to the next mountain, this flat zone has turned itself into a swamp. 2.6 miles into my hike. I'm up to 1,540 feet. I'm back up to the on the road now. That's the second well. And once you get to that, it heads straight down this this little valley down into the swamp zone. So I'm back up on the road now. I just got to follow it back up to US 211 and finally back up to my car. If I see anything interesting on the way back, I'll take a picture or two. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Thornton Gap, 1994. And the purpose of the hike was to explore an old abandoned road that starts here at the Kleiser property and goes down into Shenk's Hollow, like this. Here's Thornton Gap, and this is the Thornton Gap entrance to the Shenandoah National Park. And US 211 continues on down the west side. And I parked on the inside of this second hairpin turn right there. It might be possible to park right here, but this ground down here, there's no gravel pull-off or anything here. It looks kind of soft. So I decided to park here. So I parked here, hiked down, this is about a quarter of a mile, down to here, and then pushed my way through the nasty overgrowth here. Oh, before I went down this road, I did come over into this area right here and looked around a little bit. This is where the Kleiser property was here, and also on this side of this old road. I did find some buried pipes in this area. You'll see that in my video. Found the old road, followed it on down into Shenk's Hollow. When I got to here, I found a spring, which I put in my video. Continued on down the side of the mountain into Shenk's Hollow until I got to here. Found another spring. Now at this point, the road takes a turn to the right and just goes straight down the side of the mountain and across this valley down in here over to this side. Now this whole area down in through here is real swampy. The map shows the path of the, I guess, the channel of the creek, but it does not, the creek does not stay. It meanders all over the place in through here, so it's pretty swampy. Anyway, I got across over to here, found a wall, stone wall right in this area. Followed this road over to a point over to about here. It got so nasty with the undergrowth that I decided to go around it a little bit until I came over to here. Now the old map, I'll show you in a minute, from 1933 shows a homestead here and a homestead here. I only went as far as this one because I found a fairly substantial wall here, which I explored and put into the video. Then I crossed over the creek and came back on this side because it looked like it wasn't overgrown quite so bad. Back up the hill to the spring and then followed the road on back up to my car right there. Now let me show you the map where I got the locations for the homesteads. This is Stony Man 1933. Here's Thornton Gap right there. Here's the 2 hairpin turns, so that's where I parked. And then the road that I hiked down isn't even shown on this map. I just sort of drew it in like this. Once you get across the creek and the swamp zone, you pick up this old road here, and you can see there's a homestead there and a homestead there. This is the one that I explored. Now, this is Shenk's Hollow, and Annie Shenk, well, let me back up a second. When they created the Shenandoah National Park, there was a number of really elderly people that they decided to just let them live out the rest of their lives in the park. So what they did was they took their land anyway by eminent domain, and then they turned around and issued them a lifetime special use permit. As of 1934, which was a year before the park was created, there was 43 names on that lifetime special use permit list. And one by one they died out, and Annie Shenk was the last resident, and she passed away in 1979 at age 92. And this hollow is where they lived. So I believe that this homestead that I explored in this hike is probably where she lived. Ended up being 3.7 miles. It was a slow hike, 3.7 miles. And it took me almost 4 hours to hike 3.7 miles. Total ascent of 700 feet. So it isn't a whole lot of ascent, but there's a lot of pushing your way through underbrush and stuff to get down, back up and down these roads. And that was the hike for today.